What is up, Eagles? Welcome back to the second episode of the Bench Mob. I'm your host, Ian Lynch, and once again, I'm joined with.
Jake Henning.
All right, so last week we introduced the 3-2 zone segment. This week, for the segment we have, it's going to be a little bit different. What Jake and I did is we pre-recorded a team selection. We used one of those filters on Instagram. They gave us a team logo, and from that logo, we had to make our own starting five. So I'm going to play that video now, and then we'll talk about why we picked who we picked. I have to use the following teams to put together our starting five. Let's see what teams I can pick from. Team number 1. 76ers, all right. Team number 2. Okay, I'm liking this. Team number 3. Give me Donovan Mitchell at the 2. KD at the 3. Cat at the 5. Ja Morant at the 1. Blake Griffin at the 4. All right, so you guys just saw who we had for our teams. Jake, walk me through your first pick at point guard.
Yeah, so I mean, when you're looking for a team and you're looking at your point guard, you want to have a guy who can score and pass the ball. And I mean, when the Grizzlies came up, I mean, who's better to pick than Ja Morant? I mean, he's been stellar at doing both of those things, getting to the basket, getting his teammates open for baskets. So I think that was an easy choice for me at the point guard for the Grizzlies. Mm-hmm. And then going to the shooting guard for the Jazz. One of the more explosive players in our game right now, and just a scoring machine, Donovan Mitchell, can get to the basket, can shoot the ball. I mean, just an all-around scoring threat. I mean, he's been great all year in helping that Jazz team get to their really good record. At the small forward, I mean, you look at the Nets, you can't go wrong with KD. I mean, he's one of the greatest scorers of our time, if not the best scorer of our time right now. So I mean, you got to get a scoring threat as well. So I need a shooter. I got to get KD. And then you look at the power forward. At the Pistons, I almost went with Jeremy Grant just to give me that length and defense. But I mean, Blake Griffin. I mean, he's such a multi-dimensional player that he can shoot the ball, he can assist the ball. You know, I need a big man that can assist as well. So you know, I need Blake Griffin to get me some shooting, some assisting. And I mean, he's a great dunker. I mean, maybe not right now, but I'm trying to replicate the Lob City days. And then with my center, Karl-Anthony Towns from the Timberwolves, one of the greatest players in our league right now, shooting the ball, getting to the basket aggressively. He's one of the greatest centers in the league right now, top 5 probably. So yeah, so that rounds out my team. I think I have a pretty good team all around. Good couple of shooters, couple of assisters, people that can get to the basket. So
yeah, pretty solid. Yeah. Okay. Well, I guess I'll say my team now. So it was really interesting when I was going through this. I had the 76ers 3 times. So what we agreed to is I would just pick a different person every single time. So first up at point guard, Ben Simmons, 6'10", huge guy with point guard vision, point guard ball handling. His shooting's not the best, but when you're that big and can get to the hoop like he can, like, it doesn't really matter. So I put him there because there aren't many point guards that are 6'10". Shooting guard, I went with Dame Dollar from the Blazers. I almost put Steph Curry in there, but back with my 76ers pick, I almost put him as my shooting guard. But looking at the Trailblazers, I just knew, like, you need a real ball handler and a real shooter for shooting guard, so that's why I went and put Damian Lillard at my 2. For my 3, I put Tobias Harris from the 76ers. He's a solid small forward. Because I put him at the 3 because my next pick was from the Bucks, so I was trying to figure out where to put Giannis and where to put Harris. So I decided to put Harris at the 3, Giannis at the 4. And then rounding out, using my third pick from the 76ers, I used center Joel Embiid. the man's having an MVP candidate season right now. We talked about this last episode. He put up like 35 points, and he's done it numerous times this year. And people are saying he has a real shot to win MVP. So I had him round out my squad.
That's a pretty good team. A lot of length on that team for sure.
Yes, a lot of length, a lot of big guys. When we did this segment, to me it kind of felt like my team in 2K.
Right.
So I had a lot of fun with this segment. This was definitely a great idea.
Yeah, for sure.
Moving forward, though, games of the week you're looking forward to this week.
So I picked 2 this week. Kind of one mediocre game and then one that I'm actually really looking forward to. The first game is Hornets versus the Warriors. And why this was so interesting to me is because, before LaMelo had got drafted, the Warriors, they had the second pick. They were one of the teams that were looking at LaMelo and was highly regarded to fit in with Steph and Clay and some of those guys to just create a fast-paced team in transition. And so I think it's going to be interesting seeing the LaMelo versus Wiseman comparisons, seeing how they play against each other, seeing how Steph and LaMelo compare up against to each other. So I'm excited to see that matchup and see who gets the better of who.
Mm-hmm.
And then the next game is Warriors versus the Lakers. I think that's later on in the week. But Curry versus LeBron again. It's time after time. We've seen it, I think, 4 times already in finals matchups. But they're both in the MVP conversation right now. Curry's having an amazing year. LeBron's having a great year as well. Even carrying this team without Anthony Davis. And at 35, 36 years old, LeBron's still in the MVP conversation. Like, that's unreal. He's shown a willingness to not stop at all. He wants to keep going. So yeah, I'm really looking forward to that game to see how those teams match up with both like big stars out in Anthony Davis and Klay Thompson. So.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, for sure. So my games I picked for this week. So the first one I picked is Mavs versus Nets. Now the reason why I thought this one was really intriguing. First of all, the Nets are on a winning streak right now. 7 games. But that's not why I went with this game. I went with this game because we mentioned last week that Luka was our player of the week, and he had numerous games last week where he put up 40 plus points, especially the one with his career high. So taking that into this week, the Nets have one of the league's worst defenses. So I'm really excited to see how many points Luka can put up. It's going to be hard because Harden and Irving have been really clicking lately, and the Nets offense has been really, really good lately. So it's basically Luka versus the Nets defense. That was the biggest factor for me. My second game, Lakers versus Utah. Huge playoff implications. Both of them, like we mentioned last episode, are in the top right now. I don't know what it is. Right now, the Lakers are in a slump right now. It doesn't help that Anthony Davis is out, but that still doesn't explain last week's loss to the Heat, which I thought was embarrassing, even though it was only by 2, but still. So right now, they're in a 3-game losing streak. Utah is really gelling right now. Like we mentioned last episode, they have 3 of the top 5 3-point shooters right now, so they have shooters. Their defense has looked good, and they're seeking their 15th straight home win. So those are my games for this week. Thoughts?
Yeah, like you said, Utah has been on an absolute tear. Donovan Mitchell and Rudy Gobert are at the head of it. So it'll definitely be interesting to see how this Lakers team can handle a contender like that right now when Anthony Davis is sidelined. I'm looking forward to seeing how LeBron carries the load and how he's gonna look to his teammates to help support him. So I'm definitely looking forward to that game.
Mm-hmm. All right. So I don't know who. Last week we agreed on players of the week and rookie of the week, but we switched it up this week. So you had rookie of the week. I don't know who you picked. So this is I'm figuring out just like everyone else. And then I had player, and you're just finding out now as well. So who's your rookie? Why? And then we'll bounce off of that.
Yeah, so it's actually a guy that we talked about last week, Saddiq Bey. Over the last 10 games, he's averaged 13.4 points. He's shooting 48 from the field and 46 from three. I mean, those are impressive numbers for a rookie, and a guy for a regular person no less to over the last 10 games. And he's not, he's not playing small minutes. He's playing 26 minutes per game, and he's starting. So that's a huge push for this Pistons team that doesn't really have a lot of good role players. So they're looking to the younger guys to produce. And I mean, he's stepped up. He's stepped up huge for this team. So yes, I mean, he's been playing out of his mind right now. So yeah, got to give it to Saddiq Bey for this week.
Yeah, no, I completely agree. Especially, even though we agreed LaMelo last week, we both said like the runner-up for sure was Saddiq, especially after that 7 for 7 from the 3-point performance he had in that game a couple weeks ago. So he's, like you mentioned, he's been on fire, playing out of his mind. I definitely think that's a great pick. So yeah, I rest my case. Like, that was a solid pick.
Thank you.
So I had player of the week, and I don't know. I'm interested to see your thoughts on this. I went with James Harden for this week. The Beard been playing pretty solid the last few games. Like I mentioned, him and Kyrie have really been gelling. They're on a 7-game win streak right now, and Harden is a huge factor in that. Against the Lakers, he had 23 points. Later in the week against the Clippers, he had 37 to beat the Clippers. So that's two of the top teams in the West that he pretty much single-handedly took out. And on top of that, his shooting percentage, it's not like he's taking a bunch of crazy shots and his percentages are all over the place. He's shooting roughly around 50%. One game he had 52. Another game he was just under 50, around like 48. So he's hitting his shots, and he's rebounding like crazy too, and putting up lots of assists. I had to give it to Harden this week. Thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, I would have totally agree with that. Yeah, you talked about their winning streak. And a lot of their wins have come against teams over 500, which is very impressive for a team that doesn't have arguably their best scorer in KD right now. He's out, and they're leaning against Harden and Kyrie to kind of carry the load, and they've just bounced off each other. They've worked together, played well. One's in need is carrying the scoring load. They're both scoring. They can get to the basket. Harden's involving his teammates, which you see that, and you see that he did that in Houston, but he didn't really have someone like Kyrie to bounce off of. So I mean, Harden, he's playing very well right now, getting his teammates involved, and he's leading this team to that win streak. So yeah, I would totally agree with Harden being player of the week.
Nice. Yeah. Okay, well, that wraps up this week's episode. I hope you guys enjoyed. We'll see you guys next time.